I have my own example of vigilante justice from last weekend.
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
All right, everybody stand up straight. Get your collar on. Pop it. Taylor's got a story.
Yeah, so last weekend, me and my dad and my stepmom were driving down to meet up with a bunch of people, mostly family, for the Mizzou tailgate. It was one of the first tailgates, and we were all going there. And so it was supposed to be a fun day. My dad wakes me, or I get over there, and I sleep the whole way in the car until we get to the parking garage. And we quickly realize, as we're 6 levels up in this parking garage, like, shit, this place might be entirely full. And then we started seeing those cars come back around and pass us, and we're like, fuck, we're screwed. We're going to have to try and find somewhere else in the city. And then as we're taking one of those turns, we look straight ahead, and we see a tall, lanky college student and a recycling bin with like those 4 circles that you can put plastic cups and stuff into. And he was just standing right in the middle of a spot. And my dad stopped, like we're probably 30 feet from him. And my dad goes, is that just a regular spot? Like, Taylor, is that just a normal spot? And I kind of like looked around. I'm like, yeah, that's just a normal spot. And he goes, well, get out and move that kid. And I was like, okay. And so I opened the door in the back and I lean out and I'm like, hey, is that a handicap spot? Like, I was trying to be polite as a way of saying, like, hey, we're clearly interested in being in this spot that you're just standing in because you're disobeying the conduct of society right now. And he goes, no, it's not a handicapped. And I was like, oh, okay, we're going to park there. And he goes, I can't, I'm saving it. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. And my dad said, he goes, Taylor, go move that kid in that trash can. And so I got out of the car. This guy's probably 3 inches taller than me, 4 inches taller than me, but very lean. I'm twice as broad as him. And I walk over to him and I'm like, dude, we're taking this spot. Like, that's the way this is going to go. It's going to happen. You can't just reserve spots like this. And he's like, I'm a pledge at a fraternity. I'm going to be in so much trouble if they don't let me save this spot. Please just don't take this spot. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't fucking care. And I started dragging away the recycling bin away out of the spot. And he grabbed the other side of it and like gave it a little tug. And I quickly was like, no. And I put it over to the side. And he's still standing there. And I'm like, dude, please move. We're going to park here. Like, that's the way it's going to go. And he's like, oh, I bet you feel like you're a big guy right now, bullying someone who's, a freshman in college. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be in this position. This is uncomfortable as shit. There are people, mind you, this is before a giant football game in an SEC school, so we are not alone in this parking garage. Lots of people walking around as this is happening. And the guy, I give him like a very gentle like push of the arm, not a shove, just like trying to usher him out like a crowd out of the way to let my dad pull in safely. And he bucks up and he gets all, I'm not moving. You're this is ridiculous. I'm going to be in so much trouble. He kept yelling that. I'm going to be in so much trouble if you take this spot from me. I have to reserve it for my frat. And I was like, no, you don't get to just reserve spots in public places. That's not how this works. And so I bear grabbed the guy around him and I pulled him to the side of the spot. And I thought that was enough because then my dad started inching forward and I was like, okay, the kid knows that he's been beaten. And so I let him go and he sprints back into the spot right up against my dad's bumper as my dad's like 2 feet into this spot. And he's standing there not letting my dad pull in all the way. And I was like, dude, come on. Like, I don't want to have to do this. You are making me do this right now. Like, you can't just reserve spots like this. And so I went over, I picked him up again as he struggled minimally, not a very strong gentleman, and I carried him over and then just held him for the next 6 seconds or so as my dad finished pulling in. And then I let him go, of course, because I don't actually want to be doing this. And he turns around at me and he's all, oh, I bet you feel like a big man. Bet you feel like a big man holding me while you take the spot. I'm like, no, dude, like, I just am here for a football game. Like, I don't want any of this. This is so uncomfortable. Do you not see how many fucking people are looking at us? And my dad and my stepmom are still getting out of the car. And he goes, yeah, well, I'm real glad I know where you parked. And then I had like a public like freak out on the guy to the point that I could tell it was like when a dad yells at a kid how scared he was, where like it was resonating through the parking garage. And I'm like, did you just fucking threaten me? Did you just threaten my property in this parking garage? Are you fucking kidding me? What fraternity are you in? What's your name? What's your name? And he's like, dude, settle down, dude. Like, I'm not gonna do anything to your car. I'm not gonna do anything to your car, I promise. I'm like, oh, after you threaten me, do I need to make sure you go down there and stay away from this car? And my dad got out and he walks up and he goes, click, click. He goes, all right, now I know who to talk about if anything happens to this car. And then took a picture of the guy. And then I just grabbed the cooler and left. And that was it. It was
that's vigilante justice, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hate that. I didn't know that was a real thing. I've seen that, like, YouTube videos of that, of like those people who do that, who try to stand in a parking space. It's not like a seat at the movie theater. You can't do that. These are for vehicles.
Dude, and it's rude to on a busy day just say, oh, I'm going to save this parking spot. I can just save this like it's a seat at the movies or a restaurant. Like, no, dude, that's not how society works. You don't just get to save parking spots for your friend, your drunk idiot frat boy friend to show up later.
I've said it before on the show, so I'll keep it fast, but I remember I didn't get in trouble for it because no one ever found out, but I still remember first day of fucking kindergarten, going in, asking if I could use the bathroom, going to the bathroom, going in a stall to pee, because like, for some reason I don't think I had urinals in there, and going in and just pissing all over the top of the toilet and the side walls of the stall. And in my head, I'm 5 years old, my head thought over and over was, big boys do what they want.
This is how big boys pee.
I remember my mom just always pumping me up and being like, oh, you're a big boy now, you're going to kindergarten. And I was like, I took that to heart, and I was like, hell yeah, big boys do what they want.
Let's talk about this. Toilet-based emergencies. Have you ever had a toilet overflow on you, a la Dumb and Dumber or something, and just make a real shitty, awful mess?
Oh, yeah.
Whether the scenario was embarrassing or not, let's hear about that. I want to know, have you done this before?
Yes, I've done this. This is like one of those scenarios that you don't think about ever, because like when even the thought of it pops in your head, you just
It's bad.
Like, just try and not think about
You
it.
cringe and wish that weren't you were remembering.
Yeah, you just go.
That was somebody else. That was a past
Yeah,
life, right? I didn't do that.
Wasn't me. That wasn't me. No, I was. Okay, it was like the perfect storm of awful. I was at my girlfriend in high school's house after school, and
Parents' house.
parents' house, yeah.
Okay.
And we were hanging out there, and every Thursday we got Qdoba in the morning.
That's like
This
burritos.
was Friday, and I had been blocked up all day. Like I hadn't shit since the previous burrito. And so I go to the bathroom. I was going to go up in the upstairs one where it was a bit safer, but
privacy.
she was in there and was like, oh, you just go downstairs, the one right by the entranceway to the house, that bathroom. And I was just like, all right, well, I hop in there, take just a foul abomination of a shit, and just go to flush it and have...
Now, let me ask you this about the shit. Was it one of those that, as horrible as it is, it's over in like 7 seconds flat?
Oh, it was a
Like,
speed run.
It's one of those where you have to sit quickly so you don't just shit everywhere. Like
yeah, you're like shuffling down. You have to sit. It comes out so quickly and so much force that like there are waves splashing on the side of the bowl. But so I go in there and take the shit, and I feel so much better immediately. Flush, about to leave, and I see that scary look, that tepid filth water moving a little closer to the top. Oh, it probably just takes a bit. Some toilets raise higher. It keeps coming. It gets to the point where like I'm like willing it. It's like stop. And it gets to like right on the rim of the bowl, just soupy shit water. And like an idiot, instead of just plunging it and trying to get it under control, I go, let's give it a go.
We've been taught since the time we were 4. You flush to get the poop to go away, and you just do it without thinking.
Did it without thinking, immediately realized the error of my ways as it just cascades down the side all over the place. Like 3 minutes later after this, when I'm like, hey, like yelling for her that their whole foyer is covered in shit. Her mom gets home, and she walks in through the front door, and like, of course, I was right by there, and she was like, oh, Jesus, oh my God, and I'm just standing there beet red because I just pooped the foyer.
Oh,
and,
God.
it was, like, even thinking about it now, I'm cringing so hard.
All right, so this is there's something about Mary type scenario. What happened with you and this girl post you shitting in her house?
I mean, it wasn't like a huge freak out. Like, I think she was just as embarrassed. as
see.
I was almost, where she was like, "Oh God, this guy's shitting all over my house. Parents already don't like him." But yeah, it obviously didn't end up working out quite a while later. But I don't think it was shit related. So, yeah,
What did I walk into?
That's that is hilarious.
So we had this teacher in high school who was like legitimately going blind. Like he couldn't see light yellow. He couldn't see yellow very well at all. We would like play. We could like deftly like play catch with tennis balls in his class while he was talking to us, and as long as they were brand new, catch it, throw it to someone else. He didn't know what was going on. We put a doll in a seat one day for a kid that was out, and it was like one of those like blow up, like it was not blow up. It was like a straw doll for like one of those field day things they were doing, and they put it there. And at one point he was like, "Jared, care to comment?" And it was like, "Nope, guess not." It's just like and we kept going on with the class, and that one just came back to me. This is the other one is we were supposed to do this. He made us turn in our essays had to be longer in that class because he couldn't read like the 12-point font as well. Really nice guy, but he made us do a big presentation on a piece of poster board, and it was like about some history shit, like maybe a Renaissance era, and we did it. We did everything correctly. We all did it as a group. I thought that it was going to go off without a hitch, just a regular presentation, boring. And the like troublemaker in our group, who was selected to be the presenter, because there was only one person presenting and the other two people did the work. So it was like, all right, I can do this shit. You just don't fuck it up when you get up there. He had written in highlighter in the background of all the details of it so that all the kids could see it, just wrote, "You are a fag," on the poster board in highlighter. And so he got up there, and like my name's on this project, and so like, he got up there, like standing up there, and like me and my other mate are just like, "Oh Jesus Christ, we're so fucked, we're so fucked. This is gonna work." And he gave the whole presentation. Everybody's laughing. The teacher's just like, "Now, the Baroque era isn't that funny," and it's like has no idea. But so I wasn't immediately associated with that, but it was really asshole-ish.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Wow.
Yeah, you're really taking advantage of
Blind
people
man
playing
tricks.
teacher.
Have I
Did
told you
that.
guys about the? I know I told it on my channel years and years ago, but about the Poop Bandit story.
Tell it again.
The Poop Bandit. Okay, so there was this. It's not me, but there's this kid. The Bathroom Bandit. They call him at our high school. This kid, this weirdo, and I was the only one who 100% knew, to my knowledge, what was happening, who was doing it, because I almost caught him on accident one day early in the morning. This kid. This weird kid, he would go into school sometimes really early, and he would go into the bathroom, shit into a paper towel, and then write on the wall Joker-esque messages like, "Ha ha 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 ha, you'll never catch me," in shit on the wall. Or on the inside of stalls, and like clues like "getting closer?" question mark, like things like that. To the point that our morning announcements, they had to say like, "To whoever has been defacing our bathrooms, please, if you know anything about this person, report it to the principal. You won't be told out." But the time I figured out it was him, and this happened at all times throughout the day. It wasn't always the morning. I don't know how we never got caught. You'd go to class, come back out before lunch. I need to use the restroom. Walk in, ha ha ha. Like there's shit on the wall. Like when did this ghost of a person find it? Like it got to the point that teachers were logging your bathroom exits. And I got into school really early when he decided to strike one day. And I was about to walk into the bathroom, and this kid walked out, and he knew me, and so he was like, "Oh, Taylor, I wouldn't go in there if I were you. It seems a certain bandit has struck again." And then he walked away, and I'm like, "Oh, Mike, I knew it was you, like you bastard." And so,
Shit bandit.
yeah, Mike was the bathroom bandit.
Did he ever get caught?
No, he knew when to stop. It was an Ocean's 11 style, calculated mayhem he was running there. But that's
That's hilarious.
the poor
That's
janitor.
great.
He became so sullen and downfallen every time he had to go in there and clean the shit. Well,
away from
then you're a smarter man than me, because when I was in high school, I had a group of friends, and we would go to this place called Sky Zone. I don't know if that was like all over the place or it was just like a regional thing, but it was basically floors and walls, not like straight up walls, but like the angled kind, and then the floor of
trampolines. There's all trampolines, and you could go into like the free jumping area and like fuck around and do like crazy flips and whatnot. But we never did that. They had a dodgeball course there, a couple of them, and it was like the same thing. Tons of trampolines on the ground and then like trampolines on the side, so you could like jump up and do like flips off the wall while you're dodging and throwing. It was really, really cool and fun. And we used to go there, me and a group of like 4 other friends, and we'd go and play like pub matches, I guess, is the equivalent of that. We'd go and play any takers, and we would thrash people. We didn't lose ever playing against in our pub matches. Like it got to the point where like we all pumped each other up enough, like we'd like leave there and go to Steak and Shake or something nearby and be like, yeah, we're pretty fucking good at this. Did you see they have a tournament? Did you see they have a tournament for this stuff? Dude, let's enter the tournament. It's only like $15 a person, and we'll play in the tournament, and who knows, you know, maybe we'll do decently well. Maybe we're not going to win, but we'll do okay, I'm sure. Like we beat everybody, and it's the same kind of thing as like
holding out hope you will win.
Yeah, like there are clips of like there was this guy from like a few years ago named John Scott in the NHL who's like 6'10" or something retarded and was just an enforcer. And next to NHL players when he was playing, he looked terrible. Like just like was not on the level of the other NHLers. But then you watch clips of that guy with like normal humans and like normal hockey players, like beer league guys, and you're like, holy shit, this guy's got dangles, he's got hands, he's skating up and down, he's moving back and forth real quick. And like that was the level of skill difference that like was shown to me after this. Is we show up, and first thing I notice is we're the only team that doesn't have a uniform. We showed up in t-shirts and shorts. We're a bunch of 16-year-old guys, and everybody else has like ball fondlers or like other sexual puns and stuff written on their chest. And the other thing I noticed at first is like, oh no, these are adults. All of these are adult men in their like mid-20s, mid-30s, like fit, active men. And there was one big, fat Samoan guy on like the ball fondlers team or something. And I'm like, well, hopefully we get put up against them because I can hit that guy no problem. Like he's not jumping anywhere. He's going to puncture a hole in the goddamn trampolines. And so thank God we got paired up against this guy's team in the first round. And like they have all the balls in the middle, you know. And so as it starts, what we used to do is we jump to the middle. It turns out that we didn't have a physics professor on our team because the other guy did this crazy thing where he was like skipping across the trampolines. We're like, how's he getting this kind of speed? Like he wasn't elevating himself. He was going like like one of those like running lizards across water, like Jesus Christ lizards, like that kind of thing. And so we get there. Our team only gets like 3 of the balls. They get like 7, and we're in the back, kind of like bouncing up and down. Like, all right, we got to wait and let them throw some first before we start going. And the big fat Samoan guy hasn't moved. He's standing on the back, in between where the trampolines are, on one of the hard areas. And one of the guys who grabbed one of the good balls, everybody who plays dodgeball knows that there are the good balls and the shitty balls. And he grabs the good ball, gives it to, you know, the guy who looks like he's saying "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" in that giant, the guy who died, big fat fuck. Yeah. And gives it to him, and he immediately he fires a dodgeball harder than I've ever seen anyone throw a dodgeball in my life. This guy's boom! There was no fucking arc. There was nothing. It was a frozen rope. Just boom! Hits my buddy, who's usually pretty good at catching, just hits him so hard it bounces back. One of their sly guys does a little skipping maneuver, grabs it again, gives it to the big guy. He boom! Fires another one out, gets another one of my friends out. I'm already realizing this was a poor decision and wasted $15. We tried getting them so hard. We maybe got 2 other guys out the whole game, and we got pummeled. Like all 6 teams or whatever were playing on like 2 of the 3 courts, and our game was over when they were like a third of the way through their real game with real men. It was terrible. By the time we got to match 3, the active conversation in our group was, how many more are left? Like, how many more times do we have to go? Do we have to go against big Samoan guy again? Because I don't want to play that way. One of my friends got hit so hard and was so discouraged. We had an extra friend there who ended up pinching in, that he goes, I'm fucking done with this. This isn't fun. And so he went up to like the balcony to watch us get our asses kicked. Douche. you know who I'm talking to if you're listening to this, Carter. But yeah, that it was not a fun experience, but it really opened my eyes to like, wow, I thought I was genuinely really, really above average, bordering on pretty good at dodgeball, and these guys demonstrated that we suck cock, and we didn't even have the wherewithal to stop at a screen printing press for shirts area and get a clever name. So that
Yeah, I
was,
didn't
that
have
was not
anything-
fun. In 8th grade, I
shot
had
put.
to be on the track team, and I fucking hated it. I hated track.
This is great.
My parents were like, you got to do something before hockey season starts because we want you to be active all year. And I was like, whatever, track. First track meet ever. To be fair, I had not shown promise in any event. They kind of were just like, you do this. Ah, Jesus, all right, do that. And they put me in the 100-meter hurdles.
Who would have thought that'd be the right event for their goalie? But go on.
Yeah, 100-meter hurdles. They put me in it, and I'm there, and I look down the line, and the guy right next to me is a guy also from my school, and I know that he is really fucking fast at this because I've watched him do it really fucking fast next to me. And what I do, there was only like 6 hurdles or however many there are in a 100-meter. I ran, got the first one off a bullshit jump, to be fair. This right leg went over it, left leg kind of like went a swoop. Did a little swoop around the side.
Way it's
I
not
get to the
supposed
next
to.
one.
Is that illegal or just bad form?
It's just
Bad
horrible form, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's illegal. But I was like 14, so nobody was calling me on it. I get to the next one. I make it over. I tap it a little bit. I give it a little bit of a shake, kind of. Meanwhile, I already have an excellent view of who's going to win the race because right in front of me, they're 3 hurdles ahead. The third hurdle, I jump like almost half-assed. Like, what am I doing? Making an asshole of myself. Everyone was so fucking far ahead of me, and I jumped, knocked it over, and I shit you not, I didn't even finish the race. I just went to the side and just jogged it up to the end. Didn't jump over anymore. Just kind of like wave into the stands of all like the 8th grade girls who were there waiting for their event. They're like, hey, I'm over here. Talk to Coach Kirk, who was over there, and he's like, how about you seem like a shot put kind of guy. And I'm like, well, I'm certainly not a running type of guy. And he was like, okay. And honestly, going to the shot put event after that was like wandering into like a special bus scenario where this was not like, unlike the running of the hurdles, this wasn't the cream of the crop. No one here knew how to shot put or discus or javelin. These were all the people that couldn't run. And I performed well amongst that group.
No,
but
did you?
there were girls there, so, so I really tore it up.
We had
God,
the
even thinking about that is embarrassing. I can picture everybody looking
right?
at me. While we're talking about pranks, that same guy, the poop bandit, he had another prank in his repertoire.
Is this
where,
the story you keep forgetting to tell?
Yes. Yeah, it was the one I keep forgetting to tell. He
Settle in. Here it comes.
So the way I told you guys like the end, but the way like the beginning of it, we were 17, and so he stayed at school after it closed. It was open until like 8 o'clock because there's sports practices and shit like that. People are walking around. He hid in a bathroom, of course. Just hid in a stall, played with his phone or whatever, sat up on the toilet and just waited until like what he said was like midnight or 1 a.m. Just goofing around the school when everybody was gone. And with him in his backpack, in his locker, he bought a ton of Mighty Putty. And what Mighty Putty is, you can buy it on late night TV, or you could, and it was like this product where it was like, take a scoop out of here and you seal it on anything and bam, it's gonna stay. It's gonna fucking stay. Like there's like they showed it where they had a chain between like 2 trucks or something, and they made a link out of Mighty Putty and they let it settle, and then the 2 trucks start driving and it's like, look at this Mighty Putty, it's not gonna break. And it's like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
Shit, yeah, it's not gonna fucking break.
It's like JB Weld.
Yes, it is so powerful. And he took his couple of tubs of Mighty Putty and the little spatula it comes with, and he went around to almost every door in the school, inner and outer, and smeared Mighty Putty into every keyhole. Every keyhole, he smeared Mighty Putty and let it dry. And so the next morning when all the janitors came in to get the school ready to go, nobody could get into the school. So when we showed up that day for school a couple hours later, the front doors to the school had been removed. There were no front doors on the school because they had to remove the doors.
And take them off the hinges.
Yeah, they took the doors off the hinges because they had to replace everything. He didn't just put it in the keyhole. You know the crack between the door and then there's a little the jam, the door jam. He would smear that whole thing too. And a couple of the teachers that he didn't like, basically his handler or his wrangler, as we called her, who had to keep an eye on him as he was going around the school every day because he wasn't allowed to walk around unsupervised. He had to have a supervisor. He had a wrangler, and so he coated every side of the wrangler's door in Mighty Putty, and they had to. There was so much damage, and somehow they didn't put it together. I know that they knew it was him. Oh yeah, they knew it was him, but they couldn't peg him, so they had to call him in.
No cameras.
No, there weren't any cameras in our school at the time.
After that guy came in and stole the computers and cooked his own shit in the kitchen, they put cameras in at our school to prevent any further.
There are cameras now in that school.
Good.
There weren't at the time. They learned their lesson.
I don't think ours had cameras, but they had motion detectors. So I don't know if he would have got away with it where we were.
That's hilarious. That's such a good way to just ruin their shit too, because I don't think you can do anything about that if you get it in there good.
No, he just really got off on upsetting people and stressing out authority. Because it's like, imagine being that principal coming in for work. He's already got in the back of his head like, God, if that kid shits in another bathroom, I'm going to have a fucking revolt from these janitors, and they're not going to handle it. I'm going to have to be the one scrubbing off, ha, 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 any closer yet, and shit on the bathroom. I'm going to scrub that off. God, I hope he just gets it under control. And then he shows up, rubbing his eyes from sleep with his coffee, and he tries to stick his key in. That's weird. I must have missed. No. Oh, fuck! Just yelling. Can't get into the fucking school because this rabble-rouser did. He also did it. He broke the vending machines that way. That dollar slot, he smeared a bunch in there, too, just so he couldn't put shit in the vending machine anymore. He was such a piece of shit.
I would be so afraid to do that because in the back of my head with a prank like that is, all right, I might get caught. So if I do get caught, let's make sure this is something that can be chalked up to boyish hijinks or something like that. He's going all or nothing. He's like, fuck him.
If you put a
motherfucker.
Put a round up penis on the football field, and then they'll charge you for grass seed. You owe us $23.75. There was like $16,000 in damage or something. Like it could be very expensive.
Oh yeah. It's so much. He did another thing that he got I remember a big group of people got called into the office, like being interrogated because like I didn't know till later, but it was like, well, so and 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 so come into the office, report to the office, and it was like, well, what the fuck is this about? These are the rabble rousers. And later we found out that a teacher like went out to go leave for lunch or get something, and there were two like big nails leaned up against the back of her wheels, so that as soon as she backed out, both of her back tires were, not like pop, but the nail would go in and it would, puncture it and either quickly deflate or slowly deflate. And that was decided that it was a very dangerous thing, that she could be like dead on the road or something if that happened. And so there was like a cop or something there to interrogate them and ask them. Never found out it was him. I don't even know if that one was him, but that same kid told me he did. I never believed him for this one, but there was a teacher that was not liked by anyone. And just one day, like he left after lunch, and it was like, oh, I guess he wasn't feeling well. And like a week later, the Poop Bandit, that guy, told me, I don't know why I was always so privy to these things. Like, we weren't good friends.
Wait a minute, you weren't the Poop Bandit, were you?
I was not the Poop Bandit. No. These are really ballsy things. I'm not the Poop Bandit. But he told me, the reason that, and he talked like that. He's like, the reason Mr. Johnson left last week? I was like, no, Mike, why did he leave last week? He's like, I put 5 tabs of acid in his coffee in the teacher's lounge. And I was like, did you actually put a bunch of acid in his coffee? He's like, yeah, man, yeah. My buddy tells someone I got a bunch of it, and I put it on his coffee. He was like freaking out, man. And he left. He had another teacher drive him home. And I was like, I didn't know whether to believe him or not, but that is one of the genuinely meanest things that you could do to someone. Is like, as you're like teaching and you like imagine you point at a kid like, Jesse, shut up, up, and like your arm starts like extending towards her. I did something similar to that where it's like kind of not punking but like fucking with people. I used to drive carpool in high school for a while, and I picked up a few people in my neighborhood. One was a girl, a little younger than me, a couple kids younger in the back, all middle school age, except for me and the older girl for the most part. drove them all to school, picked them all up on the way back, and they would always start unbuckling their fucking seatbelts before I got to their house because I had like 3 houses to stop at, and I would always yell at them and be like, just keep your fucking seatbelts buckled, not because I gave a shit about their safety, but because they start like rummaging and doing all their shit, and it just pissed me off and stressed me out. And I was like, let me just get you out of here so I can fucking go home. And so I would always do seatbelt tests, and I was in my Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I would be going like 35 in the neighborhood, and then just right before we were going to get to their house, because they were anticipating me slowing down slowly and easing up, I'd just go, just slam on the brakes, and they would surge forward. If they kept their seatbelts on like I would instruct every day, they would go, and then they'd fall back and be like, God, Taylor, you fucking asshole. And I'd be like, just keep your seatbelt on. And one of the kids one day, I started to do it hard, like the hardest ever. I got up to like 40. It became like a game because my brother was in the back and he thought it was funny. I just slam on my brakes. And one day, the kid in the back that I wasn't related to unbuckles way too early. I didn't know. Taking him to his house. He's in the middle. The 2 seats in front of him are on the sides. So I slam on the brakes so fucking hard. He flies up, hits my dashboard, crumples like with his head up on like the dash and like his body down like where the shifter is. And I'm just like, oh shit, because his mom's like bringing snacks out to him because I'm the carpool. I'm like, just get in the back of the seat, just get in the back of the car. Don't you fucking tell him about this. Don't you fucking tell him that I've been doing seatbelt testing this whole fucking time. Don't you tell them about that. If they pay me to drive you to school, you're not going to tell them about that. He's like, all right, Taylor, it's fine. And I stopped doing it that way. But yeah, he almost really hurt himself. He was like dazed for a second.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't, you asshole. You almost really hurt him. That's what happened. Look at how your brain made it right, and you didn't even notice.
No, he should have stayed buckled up.
I'm
doling out life lessons over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Good reference. Good reference.